Hi, good afternoon. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Reading through the comments yesterday on the video that I put up, and just to briefly discuss about the numbers that that video received. I mean, first of all, we know that it's been manipulated. I can easily show you that just by flicking over to this, and you can see that the page views are at 3,210. That's what Google pay me for the adverts on YouTube. It's not £3,210, by the way. It's more along the lines at the end of the month, about 150 to 180 pounds sterling. So it's not a great amount, but the point is it is being manipulated. I could show you today's figure if I just click up on the 10th of September. So we had 3,210 to the next figure that should come up shortly, 973 views. It's just over a tad of 4,000 views, is it? But this is what we're having to put up with. And on top of that, as you would probably not expect, some of these comments, not all of them, but we do occasionally have some crazy comments made. Like, I don't even know whether people are using their logical sense with regards to what they actually write. It's like someone said to me, you are moaning and bitching about asking for some support for your observatory when people are out of work, looking for jobs. But it's like, I've got no empathy here. I've been here for 10 years trying to help people and inform them of what's going on, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up with this brain fart that I'm just out for the money for the observatory. It's crazy, because this isn't even profitable what I do here. It just about covers the X's and nothing more, and it's getting worse and worse. So I've got to make some even tougher decisions in the weeks to come, perhaps at the end of the month, with regards to how we manage to keep this observatory going for those people more than anyone else that support it, and then secondly for the rest of them that can't legitimately afford to support it. But if you're telling me out of 30,000 people only a couple of hundred people can now and then afford to put a few bucks together to raise a bit of money just to keep the observatory above water, then I ain't buying that. One of the comments that was made yesterday or the day before, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I just want to let you know what sort of mentality is out there. He said, first of all, your observatory is going to get cut for funding before we start cutting other things like Netflix and Sky TV and things like that. God, can you believe that somebody would even put before an observatory that was trying to inform them not just of the great changes that we are experiencing right now and shortly about to go through, but also the other information that I put together on this channel. It is designed to help you guys out there, and we have people, numbskulls like that, making such comments that Netflix should be a higher priority than what is taking place in their lives right now. It makes me wonder whether they've got children and how they actually think about the future of their children, and if they are putting Netflix above education and information, then I wonder what sort of level of education their children are actually getting from these people. Doesn't it make you wonder that? We've got some really stupid people in our society, and we've got a lot of people that have been suppressed, right, and are unaware of the suppression that has taken place. Let me tell you something. We've got 30,000 subscribers, and that is seen as a test tube or a vial of a virus. Yeah, that is an influential number of people that subscribe to this channel, and that there are bigger channels out there that are going to face the chop at some point, and I believe that we are in that process, because what we've stopped having now is YouTube recommend our videos. In the right hand section of when you've watched a video on there, they've stopped doing that, and that's cut 70% of the traffic going to these videos. And the reason for doing that is because it is like the coronavirus. Yeah, that R0 number or the R1 number, that rate of infection number. If one person has it, then it can infect another person. If two people have got it can infect 4 people, and it starts to escalate. This is no different. When you've got 30,000 subscribers, you are seen as a virus that is contained at the moment until you start to talk about certain subjects that the authorities and world governments do not want you to talk about, because you can influence, just like that virus can infect, you can infect the thought train of somebody else. And that is why they're coming down on social media websites like this. And anyone that is seen with a number of 30,000 subscribers is a potential outbreak of something they don't want out there, and they would rather shut down every channel. And we're going to start seeing this. If you don't understand what I'm trying to tell you guys and show you guys, is that what is happening now is nothing dissimilar to what took place before the war, I believe around 1915, 1920, maybe a little bit later, but in those ranges where German soldiers were burning literature. It is no difference when they shut down channels on social media websites. They are burning information and literature, and at the same time restricting your freedoms to that information. Now surely you have the intelligence to know that what you're watching is either gelling with you, either you vibe to it or you don't. And if you don't, what do? You don't go back. You certainly don't subscribe to it. But what these organisations are doing is removing that opportunity from you and making that decision for you. And when that starts to happen, you need to start worrying. In the last few series of videos, I told you guys what you need to do to overcome this problem before it gets out of hand, before people start getting pushed into gas chambers again. If you think that this behaviour is rare, if you think cannibalism is rare, then just look in your history less than 100 years ago, during the blockade of Russia, people were eating each other at an alarming rate. Over 2,000 cannibals had been arrested in 1 year. They started eating each other. And why was they doing that? Because they couldn't get their hands on food. Now, what is the big problem at the moment? We cannot get our hands on food. Some parts of this world, hundreds of thousands of people are starving to death, and they can't get their hands on food. And I'll tell you now, those things that we think that are not capable of human beings doing will soon come back around when that opportunity arises and that condition arises where they have no other choice. I tried to explain to you guys that you are a predator. Remember where your eyes are, in the front of your head and not at the side. That makes you the number one predator on this planet, and we are, like we claim to be, at the top of the food chain, because we eat everything beneath us, plants and animals and human beings, when the certain types of situations arise. Now, we have got major problems right now with the freedom of information and the right for that information to be judged on our own ability. We don't need nanny states that are thriving right now, cutting people out because they simply don't like it. Remember what they said to Stefan Molyneux? He had 1 million subscribers. We don't like the way you think. Who gives a fuck about the way he thinks? What about letting the people who have a brain in their head make the decision whether they want to watch him or not? And the same for any other channel on YouTube. It's what your cup of tea is. But, just getting back to what that statement was said about, Netflix being more important than information on one of the rarest anomalies that has taken place. It is unbelievable. But you know what yet, guys? Again, I hope you see what sort of mentality is out there with people right now, and this is going to keep getting worse and worse. We are not at equilibrium with a lot of things, guys. The grand solar minimum hasn't reached a minimum. The magnetic pole hasn't gone for a reversal, so things are not getting better. Our weather systems are still offline, so to speak, as a result of jet streams being laden with water molecules, as a result of inbound cosmic radiation due to the grand solar minimum and a weakening magnetosphere. We've not reached equilibrium on these problems that are causing food shortages around the world. We are also having to deal with these crazy world leaders and dictators. And just think about this, guys. How can a billionaire, out of 300 million people, I don't have to mention the country, you should know what country I'm talking about. How can a billionaire out of 300 million people be elected to be prime president of that country? And it's the same for the other one in the east. The other big country, that usually these two countries are at loggerheads. I don't have to mention them, do I? You know which ones I'm on about. But both the Both of these leaders are billionaires. How can that possibly be? You're telling me we don't have anyone better to elect and put into these positions other than a billionaire? If you put somebody who's a billionaire in power, you deserve exactly what you get. We need to stop this. Knock it on the head if we want to throw this thing in a 180 and put it in reverse and start getting back to some good ways of life. But at the moment, all that's happening is a decline in social gatherings. They are breaking down the social structures of towns, cities, countries and villages and neighbourhoods. You've got to understand that this is a weapon that has been deployed for a purpose, and it is winning so far. And you know what? It is screwing people's brains up at the same time, because they can't think cognitively, they can't think logically. And it's like I said, this at the moment, what's been taking place, wear a mask in a shop, don't social gather amongst 6 people or more. If you're gathering in groups of 30 people, you'll be fined £10,000. They are squashing protesters out, making it against the law for people to protest. This is supposed to be the freedoms that we have. How do we remove a tyrannical government if we don't have the ability to first of all protest? How do we remove a tyrannical government when we don't have the ability to socialise on social media websites? How are you supposed to become a changing mechanism for the wrong? If all this is right for them, then it is absolutely bad news for us. You know what? Channels like this need to be supported. We are trying to help people. We're not trying to make ourselves rich here. I live in a bleeding social housing property, so I am not a millionaire. Let's get that straight. I'm trying to help people. I've been here for 10 years. I only switched on the goddamn adverts this year. What has it been, 12 months since the adverts have been running? I don't particularly like them, but I've got no choice, guys. This pays a couple of those bills. That is important to keeping this research going here. And this year, despite all what's happened, we have still hit the road running and pushed to further what we do and deliver on this website and on this channel here. And all we are getting is flack come more faster and more heavier. You know what? People need to stand by each other and support each other. And you know what? We're going to start seeing a lot of things that we like disappear if we don't. We have to stand up strong against what we're up against right now, because it is tyrannical. And it's not just related to one country. This is a global problem. And it is, a lot of changes are going to come in thick and fast. And before we know it, we will have no human rights. We might as well just be at that point batteries for machines. Because I don't know whether you've noticed it, but every month the bills roll round faster and faster. And you know what that is an indication of me? Some fucker has switched up the speed on the rat wheel, and now I'm having to run like a fucking airy-arsed creature around this wheel in order to get ends meeting. And sometimes, you're drowning along the way, half the way. I apologise for a few of the profanities that I've made, but I think that they are more than just caused and worthy of, saying. I think it's justified. I'm angry just the same as you guys. I'm peed off about the fact that, there is 250,000 people looming to be evicted in this country alone, let alone the suicide rates that is taking place in India and in this country and in other countries, even Western countries now, with farmers committing suicide. I'm upset about that as well, but if we don't stand together, then we stand alone, and there is no strength in alone. There has to be only one way, and that is strength in numbers. And like Poland did in its history when it relieved itself of the communism, we have to follow suit, because that is the method that worked back then. It can work right now. We need unions. We need to have more social protection from social media sites squashing us out. There needs to be laws that need to be changed. You know, we need to be defiant. I'm sorry, we need to be defiant as well. Unions, defiance, you know, we need to protest. All these things need to happen. If you sit there and wait for somebody else to do it for you, it'll never happen. You know, you have an obligation and a duty to your loved ones to act, and now is already the time to do that. It was already the time to do that 5 years ago, because a lot of us seen this coming. It was just a matter of time. What I believe is happening is nothing more, it's not a new game, it's just the game's changed, but the outcome of the game is always the same. Yeah, a transfer of the wealth from the middle class and the poor to the rich. The rich oligarchs get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the poorer get squashed and stole off and robbed. It's as simple as that. And at the same time, they feed us the propaganda through their tools and media outlets. I don't need to mention them, they're the mainstream media, right? They're the media that set an agenda, show you what exactly they've been told to show you, so that they control the way you're going to think next. This is a lot of strategy going on here, there's a lot of psychology going on here. You need to stop, think and realise. Guys, there's a link down there if you want to help support us. There's also a link on the website. No one to date has pressed even once since it's been up on there, yet we get 7,000 views on the website. There's a link down there if you want to support us on PayPal, or become one of our patrons. You know, try and keep something that is informative going. If YouTube decides to squash this channel overnight, we've got the website to fall back on. I can get another hosting site for these videos on another platform. Simple as that. Guys, try and think about what's going on, and if there's any truth in what I've been saying, then there's a link there. Support it. Otherwise, I guarantee you, just like what we're seeing in the high street now, this will go. When it goes, it'll be a terrible shame, because I don't know anyone else that's covering the topic on pole shift as closely and as, you know, in depth as what we are, as well as all the other anomalies that we put together in one place for you guys to view. So I'll leave it at that. You know, try and enjoy your day. As always, bye for now.